we endured oppression, and we're going to help lift you out of oppression. That's the way of the sunnah of our Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
Yeah. You know what I find beautiful is that both of you do not let, and I see this with other people as well. You don't let some of these ill effects of racism define you. You don't define yourself as a survivor, as a victim, but what I see is community leaders in front of me. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes what happens is that the scar that's left behind by enduring some of these abuses or oppression or unfairness, you have like this chip on your shoulder, which you look at the world in such a negative light. But what I find so beautiful, and I hope people really pay attention to this and make a note of this and become self-reflective upon this. You're not complaining and blaming the world. You're leading. You're looking for solutions. You're trying to set an example. You're talking about self-accountability. You're talking about true leadership, and that's what I believe. Heroes and leaders do. They overcome the challenges and the different obstacles they face in life. And the greater the obstacle, the greater the hero. Like the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they didn't sit around after the death of our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, oh, we endured this and we endured that. And remember early days of Mecca and just talk about what they endured and all the unfairness. Rather, they showed the world there's a better way. They went to all the different, wherever they could to spread the dawah and show we're going to help lift you from oppression. We got lifted from oppression. We endured oppression, and we're going to help lift you out of oppression. That's the way of the sunnah of our Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's the way to show a better way. That's a healthy way of doing it, because you know what you can do when you get hurt and you're harmed and you're sometimes victimized and you're dealt with unjustly. You can try to perpetrate that on others. You can try to be unjust and unfair to others, because I don't believe the right solution is now say white people are evil and we need to, call them out and cancel culture and attack people and all. I don't think that is, because it's going to be one day you're up and the next day you're down. And it's going to be a cycle of, revenge and tit for tat. And you'll never get to a place where you're standing together. You know what I mean? You'll always be standing against one another. And so I think that's a beautiful example I see in front of me is people who have a world perspective. So not just a Canadian perspective, North American, worldwide, being all over the, different parts of the world, to show how Iman, specifically, how Islam can help you rise above all of this nefarious disease, this evil disease of racism. And we should, I think, look at that and really be self-reflective. Whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, look at it. How did Islam bring so many different nations and people together? How did, I was talking about Malcolm X because I just love the life of Malcolm X. How did Islam, like Orthodoxy Islam, take him from that state where he was so black nationalist and calling white people the devil to now thinking, hey, we're all brothers? It was Islam that did that. How can it take a racist, somebody who's part of the KKK? How can it take somebody who's part of that type of mentality and bring them to love all different people of the earth? So I think that's an important, analysis and self-reflective question that people, need to make.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.